Hi guys, welcome back to a new video by Nyjo FX. I'm Alessandro Cangelosi, founder and main instructor here at Nyjo. And today we're going to start a new tutorial series and we are going to talk about AI, artificial intelligence. I know that a lot of people are hearing news and information about artificial intelligence. Here you can see, for example, some videos created using some AI tools that are actually available, and everything seems amazing because you can create a lot of stuff. In this tutorial series, we are going to talk about AI and visual effects. So it is something I think it's really useful because a lot of people now are talking about the AI, but there are a lot of bad information. There are a lot of people that are they think that it's scary the usage of AI you can do actually. So I think it is time to talk about it. And I have to say that artificial intelligence is here since a lot of time. We are using AI and machine learning in visual effects since a lot of time. This one is a really nice video you can see that talks about AI in the tools used by visual effects, like for example Flame or Nuke. And we are using AI, for example, for face replacement, for rotoscoping, and a lot of stuff, you know. And machine learning is moving forward to help everything about visual effects, like rendering setup, like simulation, and stuff like that. So you see, this one is really interesting because it's useful to understand how actually machine learning and AI is used daily in visual effects. So it is something that is used since years. We are talking about AI and machine learning since years in visual effects, and actually it became something that is completely public because everyone knows about, for example, MidJourney, Runway, and stuff like that. So a lot of tools that everyone can access using a subscription and can create amazing stuff. So it is scary because, you know, you can imagine that something like that is, for example, it is using stuff that are stolen from other artists. It is using data that is based on copyright stuff, etc., etc. So it's a really complex discussion, and I'm here not to solve the problem because actually it needs to be planned in the right way. There are a lot of discussion about it, how it needs to be used, how it needs to be instructed, you know, so how the data set can be found and used to apply to the machine learning algorithm. By the way, I think it is something that is changing the market again. It is something like a revolution, but you have to understand how it can be used and how it can be helpful. I think it can be stopped because it is here to stay and to completely change the market and how the stuff will be done now and in the future. So we have to adapt, we have to understand that it can be something good for the market, something that can be used to have a better workflow and create more stuff in a better way. So I think that artists are scared, and obviously it will change the market. It will change how many people needs to be to work on some stuff. But we have to think that it will change some, you know, repetitive routine that needs to be done. So that's why, for example, it can be really helpful in stuff like rotoscoping. That is not a nice job, and it can be done by software, by machine. I have to say that I saw a lot of technology, new technology and stuff like that in all the years I was on the market in production. For example, when I started to play with computer graphics, I was in love with 3D, but I was using something that is called DKB ray tracer, I think you can find really a poor amount of information about it over the web. But if you try to search it, just to let you know, that's what you can achieve. We are talking about a retracer, but there was no UI, so you have to write your own scene to create something, to create a project, to create a scene, to create a lighting and materials and everything else. So as you can see, the computer graphics was really different 30 years ago, or 35 or 40 years ago than today. Today we have a really complex series of tools. So AI is the same. It is something that will change the market like a storm, but can be also helpful. So I think that as an artist, as a teacher, I have to give you some example and help you to understand how we can use the tools we have today for the AI in our daily workflow to create something better, in a better way, in a faster way, and with a broader range of tools. So AI can be helpful, and we have two different kind of AI today in the software and tools you can pick using a subscription. We are talking about AI that can generate images, and then we have the AI can generate 3D models and videos. Obviously, every day, every week, we have new tools. Some of them are older and are really helpful and really powerful, like MidJourney. And I have to say that I spent last year to work on a project that's used a lot MidJourney to generate stuff. But it was useful to generate stuff and not to stool stuff. Okay, it was useful to generate, for example, references in a really fast way. Usually an artist can go over the web on Google and search for references, images, videos, and stuff like that. Today you can go over MidJourney and create your stuff using other references, or ask him to create something for you. Okay, here, for example, you can see a lot of stuff generated to understand how it works, how it plays, understanding deeply how it can be used for some stuff for production and some stuff that are used essentially just for entertainment. By the way, if we go here, you can see something that is related to 3D production, and it's just creating some references for a base to create, for example, a mood board, or to create a preview or what you are trying to achieve before you go to create something in 3D, for example. And you see the same for this image. Maybe you like to create a mood board or an idea about an environment, an image, something about, a preview about something that needs to be approved by a client. And that's a really fast way to do it. Or you can prepare stuff for a matte painter or a painter or another 2D artist to create something. So I'm talking about AI that can be used to help. So not something that can be just bad for the market, but something that can be helpful. Okay, that's the idea. So in this tutorial series, I like to talk about this way, how to use some tools, exploring some tools for the market to understand how we can use it in production. And we are going to see some different stuff like MidJourney, tyDiffusion for 3ds Max, for example. But there are many tools that are in development for all 3D tools. By the way, tyDiffusion is one of the first that give you the possibility to create AI helped by AI stuff in 3D, okay? And then we have something more like Runway that is really helpful to create videos. So you see, we are talking about videos created essentially by AI. And there are a lot of possibility and customization you can do. So obviously there are a lot of bad usage of these tools, but we'll try to see something like video to video, using the 3D to create videos. We are going, for example, to see how to use images created by AI and then create videos using AI. So there are a lot of stuff you can do with AI, and it is also helpful to see other tools like Runway. We have, for example, Kling. That is another really nice tool. Here, for example, you can see something that we done in 3D for our masterclass for 3ds Max. And this video is essentially created based on just one image created in 3D. And then we have a clip that is completely generated by AI. Obviously, it is something strange because we see a dinosaur morphing in something like a dragon or something like that. But it is amazing to see how it can work. And in this way, obviously, I'm not saying to use completely AI for production, just AI, but I'm talking about helping production with AI. I know that I'm repeating always the same thing, but that's helpful to understand what we are trying to do with AI. Okay, maybe we can see something more because we are doing some tests here to understand how to play. You see that we have an image of a dragon and we have landscape. So we are trying to understand what we can do with it, and that's what we are trying to do together in this course. So there are also other tools we are trying to understand, for example, Minimax, because every single algorithm, every single tool has maybe some pro and some cons based on the feature and based on how it works better in some situation or other situation. Obviously, you see problems, you see errors, and that's why I'm saying, okay, let's see how we can use AI together with other tools, or maybe let's see how we can use just AI just for some shots, some images, or stuff like that. So you know that, for example, Coca-Cola just released a commercial that was done using a workflow based on an AI. We are not sure if it was completely AI, but AI was a really powerful way to create it. You have to think about AI because it is now also in software like Photoshop, in software like Resolve for edit. So it is here, and it will go forward step by step to help us in production. So we'll see many tools that will be used in production to generate stuff. We are talking about fantasy stuff, for example, like this one, and I think he saw a lot of videos like this one over the web. So we are trying to experimenting everything to understand how it can be powerful, because for the moment we use it more in production, the prompt to image or the image to image manipulation, and we started to use the video production based on AI since some weeks and months. So it is something that we are experimenting to understand how it can be used in the best way. So I think we can start talking about an introduction to this series, and in the coming videos we are going to talk about some tools that can be used in production, and we'll see how to use it. So today, just to understand what we are going to talk about, and we'll see something basic about MidJourney. Let's go here. I like just to create, a little structure to understand better what we can do. We have the AI. We have something about the images on one side, and we have something about the video. So we have two ways that are mainly based on the AI generation in the period we are living on. And every week we have new algorithms, new tools, new stuff, and it is going in a really fast way, and it's amazing. But again, we can think about AI to be helpful, for example, helping us with our tools, the daily tools. So you have to imagine that maybe you can have a new tool, for example, to create simulation that is based on machine learning, and in this way can be helpful to achieve a better result. Or maybe you can have, let's say, the rendering engine that has some algorithms that are based on machine learning and can help you to achieve a better quality or a faster rendering. So that's, for example, how AI can help. By the way, we know that there are a lot of tools, plugins and stuff like that are coming for the 3D, for compositing, entire 3D tools. And we have a lot of tools that are going to have a subscription model to create images and videos. There are some new technology that are going to create videos using AI and then creating the 3D stuff from the scene, exporting to a 3D software, for example, in a USD file format, and then you can continue in 3D working on the project. So it is something that is going to be more complex step by step, and it can be part of the workflow, part of the pipeline. We have different stuff. We have, for example, for the images, I think really well, MidJourney is one of the most used tool. We have, for example, Leonardo, it is another one, but we have a lot of stuff you can use, for example, using ComfUI that is completely free, and you can use, for example, Flux, that is a model to do images, but also videos. You have Stable Diffusion that can be used, again, using ComfUI that is essentially a UI and not basic UI to create images. And then you have, for example, but I mean, there are a lot of more stuff. I'm just making, some names. That's everything. And we have, for example, for the video, that you can go to use again ComfUI with some models like Stable Diffusion model. And other models that are really well known are Runway, for example. Then we have Minimax. And we have, for example, Kling, and many others. So there are a lot of stuff that are developed at the moment. As a studio, as an online academy, we had the possibility to use some of them in production, some of them to create stuff for our upcoming courses, and some stuff for this tutorial series. For example, we use MidJourney, we use ComfUI with Flux, we use Runway, we use Minimax, and we use also Kling. Each one has some pro and cons, so it depends on the stuff you have to do. By the way, we are talking about a lot of stuff that can create something that is really good or can create something that is really bad. So there are a lot of videos and stuff like that over the social media created by guys and people that say that you can create amazing stuff in a really simple way just using the prompt they used. It is not true, okay? It is a tool. It needs time to be used, to be understood, to understand how to use it, and there are a lot of problems like all the other tools we have in our software. So we'll see also something about it. There is something that is linked to 3D, and in this case there is, for example, something for 3ds Max, and I'm talking about tyDiffusion. But there are more stuff that are going to be created for each software. tyDiffusion is something that is part of tyFlow, and we can see something here. And essentially, it's something that comes with a new tyFlow and give you the possibility to use the Stable Diffusion model without accessing to the ComfUI directly in the viewport of 3ds Max, using the 3D stuff you have in 3ds Max as a base. You see, essentially, everything is done directly inside the software. And that's a really powerful way to create stuff. You see that you have a lot of models, you have the possibility to access to a lot of stuff, and you have the possibility to project the stuff over the 3D model. You have the possibility to control stuff based on the 3D data. So it is something that is really amazing. You see that you have also the possibility to access to animation. So it is a different way to create stuff with artificial intelligence. Okay, so that's just an example. You see here, you add the ComfUI user interface, and then you see that you have just to play with the prompt and all the other data inside TypeFlow. So that's, for example, something that can be done using the artificial intelligence. But how we can use it? How we can use AI to help production? In this first video, we are going just to understand something that is related to the 2D images. Okay, so why we should need to create AI with AI something? It is to generate something that can be helpful to create more stuff, maybe to have some references and stuff like that. So I'd like to show you something about it, but I know that it's not the best thing you like to know about. But it's useful also to create, for example, some background images, something to play then in compositing, something that can be the base for an animation done with the video-to-video technology about AI. So it's a little bit a complex situation, and I like to show you something more about it. So here, for example, I have a shot I'm working on for the 3ds Max Masterclass Primer Predator we are releasing, and it will be useful to understand something. Let's go to play a little bit to MidJourney to understand what's going on. So MidJourney is based on a subscription. You have different levels for the subscription, and there is the possibility to access to MidJourney using the Discord channel or using directly the website, because actually we have an editor. So here, for example, you see a lot of stuff that we are testing for another purpose, and it is another company we are working on to understand better how it works, changing the prompts, creating stuff. So you see we have a lot of tests done. It takes care, you see, about creating images, creating stuff and stuff like that. So it is something I think you saw over the network, because I think you saw a lot of stuff created using MidJourney, and it is something that can be really useful. But I like to show you something, for example, in a moment. And for example, here you see some generation that can be useful, for example, if you like to have an idea. You know, when we try to have a reference, usually we go over Google, we search for images, and then we try to pick stuff, pick photos, pick stuff done by other artists and stuff like that. So it is something that is similar, but you are manipulating the stuff you like to do. So for example, here we were testing to create something related to a sport car to find a nice visualization, and that's just an example. Here you can see something more. So you see we go to try to explain which kind of car it is, how the environment is done, and stuff like that. So let's go forward to see something. Here you see, for example, we were testing something related to droid visualization, finding some idea and stuff like that, like in these examples about characters, testing stuff to find new ideas, and also creating stuff for projects. So I like to show you that we have tons of images that we created to test prompts, to test styles, to test mixing stuff, and etc, etc. So maybe we created something that is really similar to the stuff that a lot of artists, AR artists, are trying to do, and there are also other stuff. So For example, here I was testing the visualization for the Earth I was creating for the masterclass. So I was just testing to find some ideas about it. And you see that in this case, I tried to create something here. You see also some stupid example, by the way. And here I tried to create an image that was interesting to find the initial frame for the shot. And you can see that the initial one is having the Earth in space. So, for example, here you can see a prompt just to let you know how the stuff can work in the right way or in the bad way. Here you see, for example, we said hyper-realistic high-resolution image of Earth planet in space, cinematic look, IMAX style, because there are some stuff that can be used to create your image. And you see that we have something that is not completely right. This one, for example, essentially is a planet. Maybe it is something more similar to Venus or Mercury or maybe the moon or stuff like that. Here we have something that is really strange because we have essentially, it seems that we have two Earth planets and we have a lot of galaxies around. So it is a nice illustration, but it is not realistic. Here we have the same problem. Essentially, we never say to see just a part of the Earth. Same here, and here you see also that we have some clouds out of the planet. So again, we have a lot of galaxies here. So then you see how we changed the stuff. And this example, we say just high resolution NASA image of planet Earth. Obviously, it is using the stuff that it learned, checking images over the web, checking stuff that was data that was used to learn, to understand how to create images. And then you see that now we have something that is right. We are essentially a realistic planet, same for the other, and we have also the possibility to see the planet near. So what I can say, obviously this image can be tweaked, can be, for example, rescaled using again the AI, can be then tweaked, for example, by a digital matte painter artist, and then it can be used, for example, as a background for 3D. That's the idea, for example, or for a shot. In our case, it was essentially just to have an idea about the look. I can say, okay, you can go inside over Google and find an image. That's right, but I was trying to see the look, changing stuff, and that's something that can't be done inside Google because you can find just an image, that's all. Here it is the same. We are creating a new tutorial series, and it's based on an environment, a natural environment in Africa. So to have an idea about what we are going to create, we try to use the prompt because I'm not an illustrator, for example. So the idea can be, okay, let's find some photos, but on the other side, why I can be faster and say, let's create something using a prompt. Because essentially this one can give us a really nice idea about what we are trying to achieve. And then obviously this one can give an idea, and then you can go back in, if needed, obviously, you can go back over Google and find some realistic references to see how the ground needs to be done, how the water can be, how the plants needs to be created and stuff like that. Same here again, you can see how it can be used to create something related to car. Obviously, this image can be used to create a video using AI, but on the other side, this one can be a nice way to visualize something before you're going to create something in 3D. So you can create, you see a lot of stuff, and that's really simple. We have essentially to say what you like to have. So for example, let's say that we go to copy partial of this one, and we go just to change something. You see that here we have a standing bird's eye aerial view, so we say how the camera position is, and then of the African landscape, and we can change something here and say, let's say of forest land, capturing the vastness of the savanna. Obviously not, let's say just of the environment. Then we have windy rivers, and that's okay, and patches of lush green. Let's say that we have greeny arid, it's not needed, so we can leave this one. Okay, and then it say the image should evoke a cinematic, hyper-realistic style. Let's say we can try, for example, documentary style. And then we have showcasing intricate details like rendering watercolors. Let's say showcasing intricate details of the forest. We have distant mountains, let's say foggy atmosphere. And then we have a large swatches of open grassland, we can remove it. And then we have the lighting should be golden. Let's say should be in the morning. Highlighting the texture of the land and the glimmer of the water. And we see justice is in the morning. That's all. And then we have the scenes should convey both the beauty and the roughness of the African wilderness. Obviously not. The forest again, with dramatic shadows and vivid color contrast between land and water. Let's say with dramatic shadows, we go to remove it. And let's say that we go like this one. We have some option during the creation, so we can say let's go for a landscape, or maybe we change the aspect in this way. We have some information about the model used, and the stylites is something that goes to create something without the not following the stuff you are going to create. Let's try to use a model with a speed turbo, so we are faster. Enter, and then it is going to create. So we can go up, and you see that it's creating the images. So in this way, it is going to create something that can give us the idea about what we like to generate, and then we have the possibility to tweak it, obviously. So let's wait for a few. Okay, it is done. You see that we have obviously different kind of forests. We have, for example, this one. We have this one. You see that it's created the foggy look, for example. We have this one that is really greenish, and that's really not bad. And then we have this one. If you like, for example, this one, you can say, okay, please create some variation with subtle variation or very strong variation. And then it's going to create new images. And you can continue to change stuff. You can add stuff. You have also the possibility to use the editor to tweak stuff. And you see, for example, this way is useful because you can find, you can create references, references about the look you are going to create or stuff like that. Or for example, it is a nice idea to create a mood board using these images, just to have idea, just to have references. And you see that, for example, now we have 4 new images based on this one. So then you can say, okay, this one is really nice. And then you have the possibility again to play with this one, using the style, using the image, creating variation, going to create the upscaling, mixing together with other images, because you can use, for example, a reference found over the net, and then you can use it to create something about a new image. Okay, so you can say, okay, let's use this one, let's use another image I found over Google, and then please create, using the prompt, a new image. And that's something that can be done. So using MidJourney, or using Leonardo, or using ComfUI with Flux, or Stable Diffusion to create images, to create characters, to create references, find a style, find, you know, new ideas, doing brainstorming in this way. And that's a really creative process. So I'm not saying to use directly this image, but I'm saying to use it to create something. And in this way, this is a tool. You know, it's something you're going to use to create something, or to create more, or to create in a better way. That's the idea. Obviously, it can be used to also to add stuff, as we said before. You can create, for example, a background image. We created the Earth photo before. You can use this one as a background for a shot. So here in 3D, we are creating the shot, but I'm creating it because I like to show how to create an Earth planet in 3D. But obviously, if this one was a shot, you can create directly the image. And the image created with MidJourney can be a base to work in the digital matte painting side. Okay, so that's the flow I'm talking about. Using the image generator, so the prompt, and so the technologies that text to image, to create something, to help to create something, to help the artists to create more, to create better, to create pieces that can be used later. For example, using images generated with MidJourney, then everything goes to the matte painting, and the matte painter can create something else, something more. Okay, that's an idea. In this series, in this tutorial series, we are going to see step by step each tool to understand how it can be used, and then we'll try to use it to create something for the production. So let's go back here, and let's imagine that we like to have a background for the Earth we are creating. We can try. Let's try together. I didn't try it before because I'm still working on the production side of this shot. So let's say that we like to have. Let's go to search for NASA. You see here we have more stuff, for example, like the ground, and we go to use this prompt. Let's say high resolution image of let's say space stars. Let's try in this way. Not sure what's going on, so let's say enter. Let's remove the search, and it's creating something. Maybe in this way we can have a background, a nice background that can be used inside 3ds Max or inside the 3D software as a back image, you know, or maybe as a texture to be mapped over something. I mean, obviously we have stuff that can't work, like this one we have here, something like stars and galaxies. We have something that is too much, but maybe something like that can be nice. Maybe that's too much. So we can try to do something. Let's say that we try to change something. Let's say high resolution as an image of space with some low bright stars. Let's try in this way. We are just trying to ask to have maybe less star and maybe with a lower intensity. You know, it is not always possible to find the best solution, because you see it is going in a different way. It is creating something that is really, really full of stars. So in this way, you have to imagine that maybe it is not possible to find the right solution. We can try to say, because the problem is an high resolution as image of space with some low bright stars. And the problem is that maybe it learned using NASA image with a lot of stars and galaxy. So that's the problem. You have to find the solution. So maybe you have to go here and say, okay, let's try to write in a strong way and see what happens. Or you have to pilot the generation using an image. So you should go, for example, over Google and say, let's say, space image, and see what happens. Yeah, here you can see another example I just prepared before restarting with recording. You see that I tried to ask for something, adding some details, and I said high resolution NASA dark image of space, low brightness small stars. In this way, you see that 3 images are not okay, but this one is not bad because the background seems nice. You see that is something that can work. But we have this planet, so we can try, for example, to use some tools. For example, you see that we have here the pan, so we can pan the image, or we have the possibility to use the editor, and we can try to say, let's remove, for example, the planet. I'm doing this test to show you that it is not so simple. You see, it's something you have to rebuild, redo, and stuff like that. So it is not just writing a prompt and say, okay, it is done, you know. So we submitted. So I think it is on the table here. Okay, so let's close the editor, and that's maybe better. You see, it removed the planet, but now we have the sun, and the sun is good that because maybe we didn't remove all the brightness we had here. Okay, so for example, we can say, okay, this one is not bad. Let's go again in the editor, and let's try to pick the entire brightness area to remove it. Okay, we try to say, okay, let's pick the brightness here, and let's see if it is able to rebuild this area with just stars. So again, obviously we are just making an introduction to understand how the AI tools can help the production. You know that, for example, this week we had the pleasure to see the first AI commercial for Coca-Cola, and it was done using a workflow that is using AI in production. And I'd like to give you some, some tips to understand how some tools can be helpful to produce something. But I'm not talking about essentially removing the other tools and use just the AI. That's not the way from my point of view. I think the best way is to simply add AI tools to the workflow. For example, if we talk about visual effects and we talk about compositing and stuff like that, we have a lot of tools today that are based on machine learning. Think about, for example, on the rotoscoping. It is something that can use machine learning to automatically create mask, doing the rotoscoping of the mask, and then remove the stuff. So that's the idea. Show you that you can have a workflow that is based on the usual tool, but you have also some additional tools that comes with the based on the machine learning or artificial intelligence algorithm. So this one will be really, really useful. So let's try to double check if this time we have something that is working. We have 4 images. Let's see. This one again has a brightness area here. This one is not bad. We have a brightness, but that's not bad. This one maybe it is cleaner because we have a little bit of brightness over there, but it's not so much visible. And same for this one. Think about, for example, having the sun on this side of the image, but you can also rotate this image. It's not a problem. So, for example, I think that maybe this one is nice, or maybe this one. So, for example, you can say, okay, this one is not bad. And we can try to do 2 things. One is, for example, create some variation, and that's an idea. And the other one is to use the upscale, okay? Using the upscale, you see that we have 2 options, the subtle and the creative. With the subtle, obviously, we'll have not so much, let's say, creative variation over the image, because it needs to use this one as a base and then repeat a new high resolution image based on the one we have. Here you see that it's creating the variation for this one. So we have 4 images, and maybe based on these images, this one is not bad gain. So we have some kind of variation that can be used. Now it's building this one, and this one is the one that is scaled. So let's wait. Okay, we have it. So this one is the high resolution image, okay? And we can, for example, say, okay, let's download this one. It's downloading, and we have it here in the download. We can double check the image, and you see that's not bad. We are talking about a 3 key image, and we can make a test. So we can go, for example, here. This scene is really simple because it's a proxy. We are creating just the layout. By the way, if we go here, obviously, again, take care about the quality. It's really low because we have nothing. This one is essentially a sphere with a texture. By the way, we can say, okay, it will be nice to have a back image here, and we can do 2 things. One is creating something more complex because we like to, to create a 3D movement inside the scene, or we can essentially just say, okay, let's add an environment map, and then we go to choose a texture. You can do the same, obviously, with every single software. Actually, I'm using 3ds Max, but you can do the same with all the software you're using. And I like just to see, because we have to move it, because I'm using 2 workstation. So I'm going to cut this one and go and the right folder here, and we go inside November, and let's go to create a new folder, AI Introduction. Let's create a folder, texture, and we put this one here. So then we can go back in our 3D software and say, let's go to load it. And we were checking the texture. Let's say that we go to pick the background we just created. and then we have to go in free contents in the folder where we put the stuff, so November, AI introduction, texture, and we load this one. Okay, we have it. Let's say to use the 3ds Max, and then here we have to say that it's an environment map. And then you see I'm going to render, and we have the background. So it is really high resolution, so we are able also to render at high res, and we have a background. We can take care about the lighting, the grading, we can tweak it, so you have the possibility to do whatever you like. So for example, we can say let's try to have a multiplier over the rendering, so it should be brighter and more visible. Not so much because we are using it as not like a texture, so we can directly do a small color correction and rise up a little bit the gamma. So let's say, for example, 1.5. Maybe that's too much. Let's try 1.25. And then render again, and you see that it's brighter. Obviously now it seems that the sun is on the other side. So in this case, we are going to move the sun to have something that is more similar to the background, or the background needs to be tweaked to achieve the same lighting, you know? So let's say that we have something that is like that. If we go back to render, you see that we have the sun coming from the side. Obviously, it is too bright, but that's not a problem because actually we are still working on the layout, so we have no right lighting and stuff like that. You see that the sphere also is really simple, so that's not the main purpose for this project. So it was just a simple example how the AI tool can help us in production. And you see, we just created a background. By the way, in a real visual effects workflow, for example, this one can be used as a base for a matte painter, and then it can give us something with a better quality, or more, you know, artistic details, or more based on the stuff asked by the client or the director or whoever else, for example, the agency or the art director, etc., etc. So in this case, we saw just how the prompt, the text to image, is helpful to create something. Okay, so this is just the beginning. This tutorial series will be better and better, and we'll see how we'll have some tips to understand how the AI can be part of the production. Because, you know, using AI is not essentially writing a prompt. Okay, that's maybe if you like to play with the AI, but if you like to use AI in production, that's not the way. You have to understand that this one is basically a series of tools, a series of additional features that can, again, speed up your job, giving you more possibility, expand your possibility, and creating more stuff or better stuff, you know? So we have to understand how the tools can be part of your daily workflow, okay? And that's our point of view. Let's try to do something like that. Let's see how we can use the text to image and the text to video, or video to video, or image to video, to create something for a production. Okay guys, so that's all for our introduction. It was just the beginning. We'll take care about the other tools, and we'll take care about creating something step by step in coming videos. And we're going to release, we hope, one video by week. And I hope you you will love this series. Obviously, if you have questions, if you have suggestions or stuff like that, please contact us. Please leave a comment or a message, and we'll try to do our best to create the best tutorial series possible about AI and visual effects. Bye.